Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you as we recap Fort Hays State's playoff loss to the Ferris State Bulldogs. Take a look back at a remarkable season. Tigers finish up 11-1 MIAA champions. Head coach Chris Brown will be joining us right after the break. The program again brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail. And Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers are on North Vine and Hays. The taste that brings you back. We're going to go ahead and take our first break. We'll bring in head coach Chris Brown, talk about the playoff game Saturday at Lewis Field. We'll do it right after this. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Some of the action from Saturday afternoon. Fort Hays State and the Ferris State Bulldogs from Lewis Field, second round of the NCAA Division II playoffs. Tiger Talk brought to you again by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro at 27th and Indian Trail. And Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. You can experience delicious cook-to-order food, rich and creamy frozen custard, churned fresh throughout the day. All at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers are North Vine and Hays. It's the taste that brings you back. Fort Hays State, unfortunately, seeing their season come to an end Saturday, losing 31-21 to the Ferris State Bulldogs. And we bring in now head coach Chris Brown. And boy, it's always tough when it ends. There's only one team at the end of the year usually happy with how it all turns out. And ran into a really, really good Ferris State team on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, we did. But first of all, I want to thank you, for your coverage, throughout the season and your staff and, that whole group and all the other media that were involved with getting this coverage out, for our young men and giving them the support that they need, and also to our fans. I mean, it's been a tremendous season, and without our fans being in the stands cheering us on and supporting us, this season probably wouldn't have been where it's at. But, I want to thank you guys first. I want to thank our fans as well, because it was an amazing season. It was a fun season, and, it did come to an end, this last Saturday against a very, very good Ferris State, football team. They were big up front. They were athletic, across the board on both sides of the ball. They were fast. They were physical, and, it was a great opportunity for us to get into the playoffs, and it was a great experience as well to see, what we have to do to take the next step. And, hopefully our kids, realize that. And, we had a great group of seniors that led us to this point. And, I'm very pleased with the season. Just wish we weren't done right now.
No doubt about it. You mentioned the fans. I mean, what a crowd. Almost 7,500 there. I think it's the second largest attended game of all of the playoffs so far, and on Saturday it blew the other 7 games away. It wasn't even close, and they were into the game and they were doing all they could. But to see Lewis Field overflowing like that, and we saw that against Pittsburgh State, and that is really cool. And hopefully that's a reoccurring event now, because there's some good football teams playing, and the Tigers are in some big games.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope this continues, for the years to come, and that goes on us as well. We got to continue to win football games and give our fans something to come out and cheer about. But even Coach Anise from Ferris, he says your crowd was a pain. It was probably one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard. Of coaching college football. He goes, they did a good job. I had to call many timeouts just because we were unorganized, because of the sound and the noise your crowd was making. But thank you so much for that. That really helps us out. It really gives our kids some more energy and excitement, and we really appreciate all that.
You mentioned their size, and that's what really, we talked about it last week, that's what stood out. They're big on both sides of the ball, and that's probably, if you break it all down, where it came down to, especially their defensive line. They really kind of controlled it and limited in what you guys could do.
Yeah, they did. They really limited our offense, tremendously. We really couldn't get the run game going. I know Aheem had a couple of nice runs that he broke out and found a little seam, but their defensive line dominated our offensive line, and we just got to find better ways to get our kids ready and get more physical kids and get stronger in the weight room as well. But hopefully those guys realize that after this game. But I felt like our D-line did a great job, against their O-line, and I thought our defense did a great job against their offense. It's just when you're going 3 and out on offense, your defense is going to get worn down. And I think that's what happened to our defense.
Yeah, you kind of saw that at the end of the first half. They got those 10 quick points and then kind of regrouped, and then you got back in the game early in the third quarter, but then they just kind of grinded you down, and as you said, the defense is on the field so long, it's just difficult to play at that high level when you're out there as long as they were.
Yeah, especially when you look at it, they had 30 more plays than us, offensively, and that means your defense is out there, 30 more plays as well, and it's those, grind out sessions. Or I probably should have took a couple timeouts just to give our defense some rest, but I thought we might need those timeouts later on in the game if we had a chance to come back, but they did. They grounded it out, and their quarterback was very shifty and got some yards and threw the ball very well as well. And it was just we played a very, very good Ferris State football team, and I would not be surprised if they don't win the whole thing.
Well, they seem to have the total package, both offensively, very good. Defense is stellar. I mean, you can tell, and that's usually teams that go far. We've seen it with Northwest Missouri State. It will be interesting. And you mentioned maybe using timeouts. It's kind of interesting. You get to the NCAA playoffs and the media timeouts go away. I thought it was interesting. The format of how you play all year changes until the national semifinals. So that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it is. You don't have those extra little breaks. Usually you had a 2-minute break here and a 2-minute break there, and you didn't have to use your timeouts where you could talk to your kids. Where this game was totally different. This game was really, really fast. It did not seem like it lasted very long at all. But those little breaks, just give you time to recover a little bit, and not having those, I probably should have used a couple just to refresh our defense a little bit, but I didn't because I thought we were going to have to use them there towards the end. But I'm really proud of this group. I'm really proud of how they handled things, but I just think the experience and Ferris State's been to the playoffs 4 years in a row. They understand the intensity that you have to play with, how physical you have to be in these games, to win these football games. And you could tell they were experienced at it. You could tell we were a little bit inexperienced, as a coaching staff, as a team, playing on the football field, that we just weren't quite ready for it. I've played in some playoff games, I've coached in some playoff games, but until you actually experience it, you don't really have a clue until you're there.
Well, I thought their coach made an interesting comment in his post-game media session, just talking about when this whole run began for them 4 years ago. They were a 1 seed and hosted, and they got beat after the bye, and kind of learned from that. And hopefully that's something your team can take forward, because you can talk about it as a coach, having experienced it, as you said, but until your player goes through that, it's a whole different beast. Now they have that idea, that expectation of what you need to do, and hopefully this team can learn from that.
Yeah, it is. You look at his story and just kind of, our story a little bit too. It's very similar. So hopefully we continue to, win conference championships, get into the playoffs, and now we're ready for that experience. And it is. You can preach it, but until you actually experience it, you don't really have a clue of what it's going to be like.
Well, Fort Hays State comes up short to Ferris State. We'll talk more about the ball game when we come back. Tiger Talk brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Back with more right after this.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayspost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Back on Tiger Talk, Gerard Walbrock, head coach Chris Brown. That was some of the action. Kenneth Iheem's big touchdown run that got the Tigers back in it early in the third quarter. The program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where you can get their delicious cook-to-order double steak burger, crispy shoestring fries all seasoned with Freddy's famous seasoning, and then, of course, finish it off with their signature turtle sundae made with their fresh, creamy frozen custard. They're on North Vine and Hayes. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back. It was a defensive battle on Saturday early on. Really neither team budging. They did get a little stretch there. They got some first downs and kicked a field goal. You blocked the field goal, and it was obviously a very close call, and that was proving to be a big game. If that stands as a block, that obviously changes the momentum. They're able to eventually get 5 more yards and kick the field goal through to give them the early lead.
Yeah, it is. It's just one of those things that kids being aggressive and being physical, and sometimes those things happen. And we talked about that all week too. This game's going to come down to turnovers, not having any stupid penalties, and I don't know if we really turned the ball over or not, but we had a lot of 3-and-outs, and we did have some dumb penalties in certain situations that gave them extra first downs to go score points. And I'm proud of our kids, but there's still some things that we got to clean up. And credit to their punt team as well, though. I mean, their punt team pinned us deep you know, that first half and even in the second half to make us drive 90, 95 yards to even get a chance to score touchdowns. And, you know, that put us in a hole. And, you know, when you kind of get backed up like that, it kind of changes your offensive game plan a little bit because you don't want to throw a pick six because those things always happen in those situations. And, you know, their punt team did a great job of keep pinning us deep.
Yeah, they weren't pretty punts, but give them credit. They got the bounces. You started at your own 2, then your own 3, then your 20, your own 7, and your own 12 in the first half. I think your average starting field position was a 16-yard line. As you said, that really limits what you can do offensively.
Yeah, it does, you know, but, you know, we have to find ways to get just a couple first downs, and then we can change from field position. We didn't do that. We were punting, and, you know, still gave them a short field to go score on and to put your defense in a hole, you know, all day long, but those aren't great places to be in, and that ball was hard to catch. You know, we tried to catch it off the bounce, but we just weren't getting that bounce to pop up in the air for Beebs to grab, you know, because if he tries to attack it, bobbles it, now they get the ball inside the 5, and you know, it's him trying to be smart and trying to not make a stupid mistake of getting the ball back inside our own 10-yard line, but you know, those balls are hard to field, and you know, then we would cheat up to get that bounce and kick it over his head, so you know, they were pretty alert of what they were doing.
I thought a key possession, they get the field goal. You actually get the ball at your own 20, which was your best field position of the ball game at that point. And then you go 3 and out, give them back, and then they put together that 5-play, 55-yard scoring drive to go up 10-0.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's back and forth. You know, we're 3 and out, and that's probably one of those points right there. I probably should have took a timeout somewhere, you know, in those first 3 plays just to give our defense a little bit of a rest because they've been on the field a long time. But you know, they had a great game plan and the ball bounced their way all day long, and you know, they did the things they needed to do to win that ball game. They put us in some very, very bad situations, and when you get into playoffs and you can put somebody in a bad situation continuously, you're going to find ways to win that game.
Finally broke through right before the half. Harley Hazard, who dropped a slant pass, came back and made 2 nice catches and almost broke one. They made a touchdown-saving tackle, but unfortunately, a long field goal try blocked right before the end of the half.
Yeah, it did. And it's just, you know, they came off the edge pretty hard, and you know, we didn't get our hand on him, and you know, if we get our hands on that guy, you know, knowing Brandon and Brandon's leg, he probably makes that field goal. Now it's, you know, 10-3 going in at half, and we come out and score. Now it's a 10-10 ball game. Who knows what happens? But you know, they made the plays, you know, on Saturday, and we didn't.
Well, the Tigers go to the locker room down 10-0 to Ferris State. We'll talk about the second half when we return right here on Tiger Talk, brought to you by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. We're back right after this.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hays Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
More of the action from Saturday. Another big run from Kenneth Iheem getting into the end zone in his final game as a Tiger. Tiger Talk brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. And Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro. You can start your day off with a hot cup of coffee, breakfast, as well as many of their signature sandwiches. They've got something for every meal. So stop on by. The paninis, the salads, the wraps, and more for lunch. And of course, the coffee all day long. So on your way to work, stop by at 27th and Indian Trail at Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro. Tigers down 10-0 at halftime, and second half, obviously a great start, 3rd and 1. You had struggled on 3rd down all day, but converted in the best way possible. Kenneth Iheem busts one up the middle, 66 yards for a touchdown to get you right back in the game.
Yeah, we were right back in it. You know, that was a heck of a job by the kid. You know, our O-line gave him just enough seam to bust it and get up the middle, and you know, he outran those guys. He almost got caught, but you know, he had enough juice in the tank to go score, and you know, that puts us right back in it. But then they come right back and score on their own again, and you know, just kind of bring us down a little bit. We lose our excitement, we lose our energy, and you know, they just kind of ran with the game after that.
Yeah, you're 3 and out, but then you go 3 and out, and then as you said, they put together a 7-play scoring drive to go up 17-7. You could kind of feel the energy in the crowd zapped because the stadium is rocking at that point. You guys are still very much part of this thing.
Yeah, we are. You know, we're right in it, and you know, we got to find a way to get some stops, but we also got to find a way offensively to keep our defense off the field. You know, especially when they had the first half that they had, where they were on there continuously, and you know, things just didn't bounce our way. They didn't work our way. We weren't getting the first downs, and we were terrible on 3rd down conversions. And you we just didn't make things happen, and we got to find a way to, in the future, to find ways to get first downs, and that's something we talked about all week long, is we're going to sustain some drives and keep our defense off the field, because their offense is going to wear us out if we don't, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, there's a stretch. I think they run 16 plays to your 3. They get 2 touchdowns out of those 16 plays, and it's a 24-7 game at that point. They would tack on another score after that early in the fourth to go up 31-7 and pretty much seal the ball game. What you had to like, your team didn't quit. Iheem bust the 81-yard run, and as you said, showed some speed. I mean, it's the one thing that differentiated him from maybe Shaquille Cooper, is not that breakaway speed, but he had those 2 runs. He ran away from some people and kept them at bay and was able to find it in the end zone. It was good for his great senior career to go out that way.
Yeah, I mean, he had a tremendous senior career. I don't know how many rushing touchdowns he had, but he had some receiving touchdowns as well. Over 1,000 yards rushing, probably had 400 or 500 yards receiving as well. I mean, that's a great senior year. I mean, that kid worked his tail off, through the summers and through the fall and spring, and he wasn't able to practice with us this last spring, but he kept himself in good enough shape to be ready to go this last fall camp. But hats off to that kid. He graduated. He's had injuries while he's been here. He's been behind Shaq, and he's never been the guy. But this year, being the guy, he was a tremendous leader for us and really had a tremendous year.
I think 5th best single-season rushing season in Fort Hays State history. So certainly high accolades, the first team All-MIAA pick. He scores, you get an onside kick, very nicely executed. Got a little bit of help from them, and then got the ball to Birchfield and found his way to get into the end zone. So made the score a little bit better, but maybe a little bit better taste in the mouth for everybody.
Yeah, it was. It just, at least some positive things happened towards the end of that game to build on for next year. We never give up, we never quit. We're going to keep battling, all the way through the football game, even though things weren't going our way, through the first, 40 or 50 minutes of that game, but we were able to get some points on the board and score some touchdowns. Granted, they probably let up just a little bit defensively, but the onside kicks were great. We almost got another onside kick. And who knows what happens at that point. I mean, we're right back in it then if we get that next onside kick. But our kids kept fighting and battling, and I'm proud of them.
We talk about their defense. I think what impressed me is Birchfield ended up having a good possession and had a pretty good game for you on Saturday. But plays we've seen him break or even Lane Bieberly break for 18, 20 or even bigger, they caught the ball, but they were tackled immediately. Their secondary, especially their corners, tackled as well as any team you've played this year.
Yeah, you were not going to get a big play on them. They're going to keep everything in front, and we watch them on film, and they miss tackles here and there, but this game here, they didn't miss one tackle. I mean, they were very secure tacklers. They got to you very, very quick, and their corners tackled very, very well, and their safeties tackled very well. And you're not going to get big plays when you got guys attacking you like that.
Well, the Tigers fall 31-21 to Ferris State. They end a remarkable season at 11-1. We'll take a quick look back and also a look forward for Fort Hays State football when we come back in our final segment right after this.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here!
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Welcome back. It's our final segment here on Tiger Talk. That final touchdown from Bama, Montario Birchfield, for that final margin on Saturday. Program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the delicious cook-to-order steak burgers. But don't forget about the Chicago-style hot dogs, the piping hot shoestring fries, all family favorites, and of course created with great hospitality that'll be second to none. Whether you're dining in or visiting the drive-thru, be sure to stop on by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, and don't forget about the great vanilla or chocolate frozen custard churned fresh throughout the day. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. Tigers end up the year 11-1. Great season for your squad, and we kind of touched on it throughout the program. Hopefully it's a good experience. I think after time settles down and the sting of losing and having the season come to an end and move on, and you have a chance to reflect, what a great year. MIAA champions, undefeated season. That's so difficult to do. And hopefully now this team has taken another step, figured out what you need to do to get to the playoffs, and now a taste of what you need to do to win in the playoffs. And hopefully next year and the years ahead, Tigers can get that first playoff win and make a deep run.
Yeah, it was. It was a tremendous season. It's hard to go through this conference undefeated, and it's hard to win this conference. And Northwest has been at the top for so long, and Pitt, and Missouri Western, and Washburn, and Emporia. I mean, it's a battle every year to try to win this conference, and it's tough to do, and especially being undefeated. And our kids did that, and I think it just goes to our senior leadership. I mean, this group of seniors has been tremendous. They were at every weight session. They go to class every single day. Every one of these kids is going to graduate with a degree. Every summer workout they were there. 7-on-7s conducting them. But it's still, what do we got to do to take the next step? And but it was, you had to get there before you could experience and figure out what you got to do to take that next step. But it was a great experience, and hopefully our younger guys or our juniors are going to be seniors now to take the leadership over and try to do it better than this senior class did, which is going to be very tough to do because it was a great class. And but what are we going to do to take the next step of win the conference again? Getting into the playoffs again, winning a playoff game, and hopefully getting to that national championship game, here in the middle of December. And it's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of effort on their part, on our part as coaches, of making sure we put the pieces of the puzzle back together and find guys that can replace, the guys that we just lost, and preparing these freshmen that we signed last year to get ready to play. And we got to have some guys step up, and there's some big shoes to fill, and they got to find a way to make themselves better, make this team better, and to continue to work and get this taste out of our mouth, because 11-0 was awesome, but you still got that one bad taste in your mouth at the end of the season that won't go away until you win that next ball game.
Well, and you kind of touched on it. Hopefully the senior class has laid the foundation of what it takes now to get there. And it's not a big senior class. Only had 13, but obviously some high-impact players. That being said, you lost some high-impact players last year and had guys step up in the role, and you're hopefully getting the program to where it's the next guy up. It's now that sophomore's turn or that junior's turn or whatever the case may be, and you hand the baton off to the next group and say, hey, try to outdo us here.
Yeah, it is, and that's what you got to try to do as the next group coming in. We got to outwork this senior class that just got out of here. We got to try to beat their record. We got to try to get into the playoffs and win a playoff game or go win a national championship. And those are some big shoes to fill right now, because they really did set the standard high. And I'm glad they did. That's the way we want it. But with the recruiting the way we've done in the past, we've been getting 30, 40 kids a year. If they'll just stick it out and kids aren't real patient right now. They want to play right away, and if they're not playing and things aren't going the right way, they just end up quitting instead of buying their time. And you're not entitled to anything. You got to work your tail off to get to be a starter on this team, to get on the special teams, and we want guys that want to put the time and effort in and do things the right way. And if you can find kids that do things the right way every single day in every aspect of their life, wins are going to come. Well,
and you mentioned the recruiting. I know you guys were even during this little break when you had the bye, your coaches were out and doing that, and you're going to hit it hard and heavy. This is the prime time right now, but hopefully what happened on the field can also pay dividends to what you guys do now off the field as you hit the high schools and hit the junior colleges and try to assemble the team for next year.
Yeah, I think it will, just with the season that we had, and the family that we have here at Fort Hays State is tremendous. And I think when people come and see it and see our kids and meet our coaches and everything that goes into being a Tiger, I mean, I think kids will want to be part of that, because it is something special. And then you go along with that, and the community goes along with that. Of we do our highlight tapes, and they're getting to hear your voice and the excitement that you have, and then they see the crowd and the excitement that the crowd has. I mean, how could you not want to be part of something like that? I mean, it's a cool feeling, and with the record the way it is, and from where this program started to where it is now, is something special. And I mean, how could you not want to be part of it? I want to be part of it. My own kid wants to be part of it. So it's something special. But we're going to take these next 2 days. Like today, we're going to have a team meeting, and Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to have extra interviews with our players and what we want them to do and what we expect from them, and thanking our seniors. And then Thursday, Friday, we're on the recruiting trail, and we're already back to work trying to find kids for them next year.
All right, well, I know I speak for a lot of Tiger fans. Thank you for a great season, and we can't wait for 2018. I think it's going to be some good stuff and exciting times ahead for Fort Hays State football. But, Coach, we've appreciated your time on this program throughout the course of the season, and good luck on the recruiting trail, and we look forward to next year.
Thanks, Gerard.
There you go. That's head coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers, 11-1 Fort Hays State, and they were undefeated MIAA champions. It's going to be our final football program of the year, but don't forget, we'll have our first basketball program already next week. Tigers open MIAA play, by the way, Thursday against Missouri Southern, and then Saturday afternoon at home against Pittsburgh State. We'll have our first basketball shows with Tony Hobson and Mark Johnson coming to you next week, Monday. Of course, Tiger Talk brought to you throughout the season by Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, The Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, and Horizon Appliance and Electronics, as well as our main title sponsors, Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers on North Vine, the taste that brings you back. And as always, if you missed any portion of the program, you can always catch it online at HaysPost.com, as well as the video replay on Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614, 3 times a day on Tuesday and Wednesday. Big thanks to Brandon manning the camera today. It's going to wrap it up for Coach Chris Brown. This is Gerard Welbrock. So long, everyone.